All right, a couple of things to start off this video. You can pause and play it as fast as you need it so that you can stay at the same speed of notes. Also, I want to start off by talking about a couple of definitions. So before we've talked about parallel lines, and when we've talked about parallel lines in the past, we've talked about lines that have the same slope but different y-intercepts, okay? And they never cross or touch each other. So here, in this diagram, these two lines are parallel lines. They have the same slope, but they would have different y-intercepts, and they're never going to cross. The other definition we talk about is a transversal line. So this line right here. This line is transversal because it intersects two parallel lines, and that's the definition of transversal. So it's transversal because it crosses those two parallel lines. Okay? Our first type is alternate interior angle pair, and those are angles that lie between two lines on opposite sides of the transversal. Okay, so if we look at our diagram above, 4 and 6 are on opposite sides of that transversal line, and they're on the inside of the parallel lines. Okay, another one would be 3 and 5, because they are on the inside and opposite sides of the transversal. The important thing is to not confuse, even though 4 and 3 are on opposite sides, those angles are actually supplementary because they add up to be 180. So 3 and 4 are not alternate interior, just like 5 and 6 are not alternate interior. All right, the next one, we have alternate exterior angles. So these are angles that lie on the outside of two lines and are on opposite sides of the transversal. Okay, so these ones would be the outside angles, and they have to be on the opposite sides of the transversal. So 1 and 7 are on opposite sides of that transversal. You also have 2 and 8 because they are on opposite sides of that transversal line right there and on the outside. I'm going to go ahead and clear my diagram up here so that you can kind of see it a little clearer. All right, the next one you have is corresponding angle pair. So corresponding angle pair are angles in matching corners of a figure formed by two lines and a transversal. Okay, so if you're looking up top, a good way I think to describe this one is if I took and cut this in half. So if I had a piece of paper and I cut this diagram in half right here, it would be the numbers that line up when I take this top part and put it directly on top of the bottom part, okay? So matching corners. So for example, if I put it on top, 1 on top of that bottom figure, it would lie exactly on 5. It's in matching corners. 2 would lie directly on top of 6. 4 would lie directly on top of 8. They're in matching corners. And then 3 would lie on top of 7. They're in matching corners. So going back down to your notes, we have, for examples, we said example 1 and 5, and then example 8 is corresponding with 2. Oh, I'm sorry, that is incorrect. I was reading my own notes wrong. Angle 4 corresponds with angle 8 because they were in matching corners. Angle 2 corresponds with angle 6 because they were in matching corners. And then you'll have to write in angle 3 matched up with angle 7. So there's actually 4 pairs of corresponding angles on a transversal. All right, next one, consecutive same side interior angle pairs. So on that one, those are angles that lie between 2 lines and are on the same side of the transversal. Okay. So this time, sorry that I keep having to scroll, but this time they're going to be on the inside, so our inside angles, but on the same side of our transversal. So again, there's our transversal. So on this picture, we can see that 4 and 5 are on the same side, and then 3 and 6 are on the same side. So you can fill those in for your example. Okay, then your last one is the consecutive same side exterior angle pair. So these are angles that lie outside 2 lines and are on the same side of the transversal. So again, these are going to be our outside angles right there, but this time they're going to be on the same side of our transversal. So we would have angle 1 and 8, and then 2 and 7. So you can fill those in for your example as well. Okay, so that is all of the notes for page 30. On page 31, I want you to have those pasted in your book and that format that I also posted on Google Classroom, but we will actually fill out page 31 tomorrow in class. You do need to watch the second video though, so that you can fill in page 32.